Thank you ever so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. When I was asked to give this speech, I spoke to Alan about the issue of business and careers, and that's what I'm going to talk about. And it's about this question: how could business work with schools to enhance career guidance? Now, when we go back to our time at school, many of us will have had the experience of the careers advisor. I was in school in the early 90s, and the careers advisor certainly followed a certain path. That path would normally be 10 minutes interview, where you would arrive for the interview. You'd hope that all of your concerns about careers would be sorted in that 10-minute chat. You wouldn't have thought much about it beforehand. You'd go in and meet someone that, if you're being honest, didn't look like they either had a great career themselves or possibly knew much about any other career other than counting the days down to retirement. And they came out with 10 minutes worth of suggestions. They didn't know me, and then that was it. That was the box ticked off. Suggestions I had in my 3 careers interviews ranged from piano tuner. It was niche in Shropshire. It'd be niche if I would have thought everywhere. Armed services, that was not going to be good for me. And at my last one, when I was actually, for a very brief period between jobs I was signing on, I was suggested Securical. None of which really animated me about my career choice for the future. Now, this concept of careers advice actually, tragically, has stayed in much of schools. And there are fatal flaws in the way that we approach careers interviews. It's determined to fit in with the careers interviewer rather than the student, and the student is not asked much in preparation before what they do. And this is one of possibly the 3 biggest choices that a student and individual make in their life. And we don't give them a chance to think about what is important to them. The careers advice is generally suited to fit the process of the interviewer rather than the school. Now, what I was asked to do at my school was to look at how we could modify and actually cut the costs of our main event, which was the Careers Fair. Had been privately organised. It cost about £6,000 to £7,000 a year. It wouldn't cost a vast amount, but it had been organised privately for years. And they'd managed to get 30 exhibitors into the school. And these exhibitors had come every other year. And because of the looming threat of austerity, my head said, you've got to cut the costs and go for a cheaper option. And that option we'd aspired was to link in with parents and to link in with the community and try and do something for a bit less. What we've actually developed is a careers fair that's gone way beyond our expectations. So we've involved over 200 exhibitors. 200 exhibitors have come to our school, a school of 1,500 in Dorking, a normal comprehensive. And they've come from a vast range. So we've got Oxford University there. We've got Cambridge University. We've even got Maastricht University, who are still coming post-Brexit. We've got KPMG. We've got multinationals, so including Deloitte, including Pfizer, including Canon, and the list goes on. And we've got a really booming technology park in Guildford. So Surrey Satellite Technology are one of the really great companies that have supported us. But we've also got, randomly, a horse masseuse. And she comes every year. And I dare say that none of the students are going to become horse masseuses, maybe 1 or 2. But the beauty of having that is that a student will say, if I didn't know that you could be a horse masseuse, what are the other companies and jobs and careers that I'd never know existed? Now, this was one of those great moments. This was just one of the rooms of our school, again, a comprehensive school, and this was one of the rooms of our careers advice. We've got 2 other rooms that replicate that. And all of those companies have come along to speak to our students. And they came with the proviso of one key mantra: you must love your job. So you must love your job and sell that job off. And if you look in there, there's a whole range of different people that have come to sell our students that there is a job for them, that they could love, that they could believe in, and that they could be good at. And for every student, we guarantee that there will be something there for them. Now, this experience has led to us to have a number of real impacts, a number of learning curves. The first one is that the best careers advice is unplanned. When I look back at my choice of career, I'm really lucky. I love doing my job. It's a fantastic job. It has its moments. But I stumbled into it. There are a vast number of jobs that I still do not know about. And because I didn't know they existed, I didn't look for them. Now, we found that the best careers advice is unplanned. So students will come to our careers fair and they will go and meet people that they would never even consider going to see, including the horse masseuse. And we've done that and we've noticed the impact, particularly the impact of those students who felt that they had a predetermined career choice. We've had a speed dating event. Speed dating for careers is fantastic. 25 careers in a room, and they go from career to career. Every student asks, how much do you earn? But once they've got through that, they've actually met and been introduced to careers that they would never dream of. Our last event had someone that designed costumes for Pizza Express. We had an Oxford professor. We had a graphic designer, we had an actuary, and many, many more, all of which were combined by the fact they were all ex-students of our school. But we also found the impact has been a real impact on soft skills and presentation skills. It was fantastic to see Clement speak before, and it was wonderful to see how confident as a sixth former he was to this audience. And we've got students as good as that. But we do find it difficult in a state sector with all of the accountabilities and targets to fit that in. And what we've committed to with our business links is every student will have a mock interview. And every student will be able to present and pitch an idea. And what's been particularly good is our link with Young Enterprise. Now, Jenny is a model student, very bright student, but she says this. She's been involved with Young Enterprise. And for those of you who don't know, Young Enterprise is social enterprise. For 1 year, students trade as an actual company. They get a loan, and they set up a company, and they produce a product. And Jenny and her group have made already £2,000 since September. They've made it on second-hand cups that they've turned into candles. If I buy one for Mother's Day next week, it's probably not going to go down overly well. But it's got a market. And that market, they're selling like hotcakes. And Jenny, I think the great quote is from Jenny, because she'll go on to a Russell Group's university, is, I'm keeping my options more open, and before I would have never thought of getting a job in social media. One of the most heartwarming aspects of Young Enterprise has been that the impact it's had on dyslexic students. Dyslexic students each year seem to take part. And last year, one student was able to pitch to 300 students, 300 people in the audience to pitch her idea of a boutique tea. She's now gone on to be to work in graphic design, and her ambition is to form a company. She'd never done anything like that before this. Skills. We also have found that businesses benefit massively from their link to the school. And this is a really interesting offshoot. BMW were marketing their new i3, and they said they wanted to adopt a new marketing approach. And to get to the parents, they introduced a simulation game, and they asked our students to market it. They knew they were going to get good PR in our local community, they were going to get good PR in the paper. But the game was fantastic, and it meant that the students had the credibility of BMW attached to it, rather than just some teacher initiative. And BMW were great. They brought their chief executive of Vines, the company that helped us, but they also went down to their apprenticeship. And that really inspired our students to be involved with this. Strongly urged, if any, with business here, is that business simulations really do work. But actually, it can benefit business because the ideas that come out from it are fantastic, and BMW used a number. Now, there are many other simple things that could be done to really help students, particularly in state schools, to find a career that matches their needs. First thing is, we benefit from inspiring stories. We often have to pay for people to come in. There are some fantastic agencies that have developed. Founders for Schools are one particular one. But often it's quite difficult to match the speaker to the needs of the school. And when a student listens to someone inspiring, it can change and transform lives. And this is one such group that have been able to do this. particularly if that story resonates with our students. So if it's an ex-student, if it's someone who's had dyslexia, someone who's had autism, someone that's come from a poor background, it really, really does resonate with our students that it is possible to be able to have a successful career in business. The second thing I'd really be interested in is about the idea of flexible recruitment. We've got students that I know would be amazing in business, but they can't get into business because they don't match the quite rigid needs of those companies. Last week, we just finished our work experience. A boy called Kieran, an absolutely delightful young man who's dyslexic, but he struggled to access certain parts of the curriculum. He went and worked in a recruitment company in London for a week. They've offered him an apprenticeship. I can guarantee he would not have had that apprenticeship without it. I've got a boy who does IT. Police have said, and I won't explain why police know, but police have said he's one of the best programmers that they have met at that age. Now, I keep saying to him, go and find someone to do it. I'd love to pick up the phone to an IT company and say, I've got someone who's amazing. But if you looked at his report, it's shocking. Why don't companies invest in potential? If they knew the schools, maybe they would do. And that's my big urge to companies. Have a look at who you are recruiting. Can you take a risk? Do you recruit for your own reasons, that it's easier for you to have tests and then have quite a rigid criteria? Or do you look outside the box and think, who could you bring in? The third thing, and this is a real passion of mine, is high quality inclusive work experience. We all can probably think back to our work experience moments with shock and worry. I certainly did. I always share this with students, that no one spoke to me for 6 hours and didn't offer me any birthday cake, and it tarnished my career in surveying. I never went any further. However, work experience is really nerve-wracking for many of our students. When they get there, they're fantastic, they're brilliant, but it's really difficult. How many of you are in companies where parents have arranged work experience for their children or their children's friends? Go away and tell your company to do something simple. Only do work experience if it's applied for by the students. There will be networks, but at least get the student to apply for it. I found that fantastic to get that to. If our students apply, it really adds to the experience. But if you've got a student on work experience, remember you were there. High quality work experience is transformative to the student, but it also might be transformative to the business. You might spot someone with the potential that would not come out on an application form. And then think about the advertising. How do you connect with communities that may not necessarily automatically look at the advert? This is an indication of a Steve Jobs advert. That fascinating fact, I think you're 4 times more likely to be a millionaire if you're dyslexic. There's a fascinating thing about that. And this agency said they were only employing dyslexics. I read some great stuff last year about autistic children and how certain companies believed that they were going to recruit autistic children because they offered a different skill set. If I was in business, I'd be looking at my long-term unemployed, because if you employed 2, 3 of those from really good potential backgrounds, I guarantee that you'll get loyalty and skills that will go beyond normal millennial graduate generation. You'll get something different, and I would suspect you might get something better. But often, the advertising jobs are not seen. How many jobs are not seen? How many people have missed their perfect job? And more importantly, how many businesses have missed their perfect person? I cannot explain to you, if you go away and try and fathom the apprenticeship programme, how you apply for apprenticeships, it's so complicated. We haven't got a UCAS for apprenticeship. It would be amazing if we did. And people don't know deadlines, they don't know how to do it. That's one example of many, many things. Advertising jobs for all communities would really help and strengthen inclusive recruitment. When I look back at our vision is quite general. This is a quote from Howard Gardner, an academic from America. He believes that if we want to live a fulfilled life, we should be expert in our career, we should be enthusiastic about our career, and we should believe in the ethos. Now, when I go back to my experiences with the careers interviewer, Not at one stage did they ever ask me what I believed. I did once say I wanted to be a teacher because I believed education was important. They told me don't. No one asked me what I thought I liked. And they looked at my CV and believed because I did maths, I'd be good at accountancy. If we could get this right, and it links back to what Dave said in the first speech, it would be transformative. It would be transformative for the individual, but it would also be transformative for business. It would mean we had the right people in the right positions. And that could transform lives. And as a school leader, that is the thing that inspires me day in, day out. It's not the exam results, but it's beyond. Can we get students into careers that mean that they can live fulfilled lives? And if we work with businesses more closely, then those students will be exposed to a vaster range of careers, so that their choice about a career will be far more reflective, far more meaningful, and meet their individual requirements. So thank you ever so much for listening for that. Thank you.